Welcome, awakened one. Please get yourself very comfortable. Take a comfortable deep breath in through your nose. Hold for just a moment at the top, and then out through your mouth. Let's do that again. In through your nose. Pause. Out through your mouth. And one more time. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. You were standing at the top of a flight of stairs. They're very strong granite stairs, and there are 10 of them. And at the bottom of the staircase is a door. And we're going to count down now from 10 to 1. For every number, we're going to take one step down. 10, 9, 8. Notice the coolness of the stairs, how it feels on the soles of your feet. 7, 6. If you become distracted, just come back to the sound of my voice. 5. Getting closer to the door. 4. No, you are very safe here. 3. Almost there. 2. 1. You are now standing in front of the door. Place your hand on the door. And now, open the door.
How blessed am I that you should pass through my vision, if only for a moment, in the speck of an hour on the back of my life. The continuing deluge, the fervent maelstrom for an instant ceases, and we are frozen in mid-dance step on the edge of a roof in the midst of turbulent night. If I may bless you with my limited light, my soul will have grown by simply knowing your silence, assured by your smile across these miles of distance that two lovers know is a bridge, a blockade, a simmering smoke of a dream of past lives on gaslit roads with horses and carriages that carried our lives too soon, cut short by the boredom of time, forced us to separate our embrace that I promised would be eternal, but my aspirations towards eternity and cajolings of God fell short of my wishes and ruptured my dreams until now. Here you sit with your hand on your face, and God, how I wish it were mine. Accept this, my love. A crippled gesture slicing the veil of eternity. The gaslights have burned dry and been replaced with the fires of electricity, while the hammers and stakes that oppress my vampire heart have long since broken clean of the shafts. For it is my love that erases this blackness. Trials by fire, threats of the weary and crimes of the tortured could not distract from my feverish life that pours forth like sweat from my liquid soul. I keep you in mind in the depth of my sleep, and each time I die, the dance resumes as if it never had ended. while the roses I brought and the wine that you've chilled dance in crystalline stillness, and the angels wonder how a love such as this could be so divine. When Leonardo sat on the hill, dreaming of flight, filling his sketchbooks with wing movements, aerodynamic assumptions, probability theories devoid of disaster, is when Picasso crash-landed his pigments into my retina, blinding me to stoic grid works, refilling with deconstructed kaleidoscopes thrown hell all to the wind, is when Mozart exploded into my aorta, seizing from me breath, absconding wings that I had earmarked to traverse mediocrity. They poised me on a precarious ledge and sneezed, orchestrating my disintegration, abstracting my skull onto the sidewalk below, preventing all else that dared encroach upon the unpoisoned realm of my infant perception. I became Gallerina and made love to Salvador Dali upon a soft, timeless canvas. I kissed Michelangelo goodnight after caressing his tortured spine, blessing him with olive oil and the 91st Psalm, easing his painful writhing, derived from exhausting sessions depicting ascensions of cherubim, leaving him spent to dream of his next revelation to be rendered across fresco skies of the Sistine Chapel, painting our fingertips so close to the divine across the divide, the mural disintegrating into dust of the stars, perfuming the heavens with song. A labyrinth of freedom unfolded as Jackson Pollock danced, spilling his whiskey in the most exquisite splattering ever commissioned by God. Let's all drink blessed wine, painting refractions of purple, gold, and pink across the ink-washed indigo horizon, staring wide-eyed into the rising orb, our nirvanas colliding, we satyrs and angels, applauding the coming of new dawn and celebrating death of decrepit dark sciences, meditating with reverence in anticipation of the impending explosion. The mountain was happy today. She told me of when she was pregnant, and the sky was the cock, the clouds the nectar that swelled her belly, and she blossomed. Yellow, red, crimson, and lavender flowers then, like she did today. Her pools full filled with heaven-scented ambrosia, sun glistening on the surface of ancient rain collections, the wind caressing her clitoris, reciprocating, drenching lovers' kisses from her softened granite lips. The mountain found me eager to listen today and silent of wordplay, attempting to invoke the demons I rely upon to soothe my angel's constant consternation. I have come to regard as white noise and static on this path. I claim not to understand, but traverse, ascend and endure. Upon this mountain that I place my boots upon her foothills every single step and time, marking my determination to overcome myself and become, like this mountain, ever pregnant and resolute to reside above the bondage and converge with the cities of the unscarred sky.
Order in the courtroom.
Independent vermin snacking on smoked sturgeon got caught lying in the courtroom because they never heard the real version. Goldilocks and her grandma on the stand for murder got christened with a hammer. Then the judge called a holiday. In the courtroom, most distressed, time had come to take the test, so I lifted up her dress to expose her curly flintlocks. But the geometry of her cemetery was, to say the least, contrary to expectations of many and disappointment of quite a few. The Garden of Eden had been eaten, and the snake was within speaking. The masses were hastily retreating because the carnival was dead. Insane minds formed a posse, nailed Jesus to the crossy, buffed and shined their lacquered vernacular and disgusted over coffee. Righteous wimps on sinking ships stormed the courtroom with effluvium. Stop this noise and give us our toys. We'll create a more perfect union. Screaming turned to crying. Rhetoric turned to whining. The insipid started lying, and the failed kept on trying. Squelch this nonsense, cried the snake. This crap is more than I can take. The snowballing virus was never my intention when I perpetrated the insurrection. Please have mercy on my ears. Displace, I plead, my darkest fears before the storm sirens begin to wail, before I swallow my own tail. Stop, please. Stop, he squealed in beseeching tone. Have mercy on this earth and leave my mother alone. I found a deck of tarot cards in my freezer while looking for a popsicle to stick up my left nostril to hopefully cure my metaphysical hangover, but instead of leftover meatloaf, I found communion in the scattering of pips and trumps, pixelating my current universe, photographing without emulsion or sloughing silver halide dustings from my exhausted papyrus. I found in the dim bowl of my idiotic freezer reasons beyond Arctic, self-inflicted numbness, the reasons I hate so goddamn much sometimes this life, reasons I shatter when you shriek your goddamn ice pick into the crescendo of my legato symphony and scream, recapitulating the hopelessness of your destiny for the millionth fucking chorus, fucking time, Jesus fucking Christ, time, please fade into silence, time again. I have entertained you until I am distraught, breathless, squeezed, bloodless, and left hopeless, waiting to be pierced through my heart nipple. I hope will bleed until I forget you, only to be healed by a strand of silver standing vigil over my stupid, gullible heart until the next of your heartless, deluded motherfuckers decide to infiltrate my dust-raw, war-weary, sick-to-death cavern. Hopefully by then, I will have learned my scalded by fire lessons, otherwise I will die from blood poisoning and hemorrhage in spite of my compassionate prayer offerings and aspirations, and you bastards will have succeeded in amputating the best of my heart from its eminence and exalting its leathery death tissue due to mine own exuberance, and consequently was ultimately murdered in its blindness. I am still unsure if the shame should be greater placed on me or on you for your lack of bravery to seek out a more resilient and harmless target. I have never grown up and never will, embedding like all hell my nails into the pine board schoolyard rebellions of my misspent youth, the same one that was ruined, devastated by the losers, victims, and their guardians of the greater loss that surmised the only way to recoup their justice was to supersede mine from the slings and arrows of merciless fate. I will die trying never to repeat the mistakes of this life so far ever again. The graffiti on my skin speaks for itself, does it not? I'd like to lightly wax my Johnson in the tunnel of my love before we say goodnight, because I've had orders from above to fight the knights of Satan. Before this wicked night it comes to pass, I will save the world from a whooping of the ass. He was a neon-colored weasel, veiled in blue light, with a battalion of comrades draped in colors of the night. On the battlefield hanging heavy were the lids of my protracted eyes cast upwards towards the threats of a soon-to-be falling sky. I made mincemeat of their livers and pizza of his face, chewed them 3 new assholes and pureed their testicles to paste. I put his penis through the paper shredder for the sake of the human race. And all the while thinking of the love I have for you, how we graced that cheap apartment, drinking champagne from your shoe. But now you have a headache while my back is merely broke from tearing down the gates of hell and choking on the smoke. But I'll opt instead for dinner. I'll feast on Jesus cheese atop some holy macaroni, then some toothpaste I will squeeze. I'll brush my teeth with a hair shirt and fall upon my knees. The bloody wine, it tastes like water in this chasm of the mind. It's just my job I go to when I leave you behind. Derailing the chariots of hell is a full-time thankless job for a bum like me to earn his daily heroin from a royal slob like God. But I mean no disrespect, nor do I mean to exude ingratitude. It's the lot my soul requires to be the savior of the world. I don't do it for the money, and it certainly isn't for the fame. But it's a lightning strike twice in one life to go through hell and win the game, then to emerge victorious into your waiting arms. The fact that I return each night is in direct relation to your charms. So I'll smash the mirrored ceiling to reveal the endless sky, where the reflections of the heavens are the memories and the kisses and the sighs and the fundamental things of life as time goes by. Everyone speculated that the theater was the only place the dear lady ever knew happiness. She could portray heroines and damsels whose lives were far removed from her tortured own, speaking verses crafted by poets and wearing fine garments from charmed wardrobes. On the boards of the stage, illumined by footlights, she would bow to the applause thundering from the silhouetted masses who congregated night after night to see her and the company of actors weaving stories and playing make-believe with graceful abandon. Many years later, we could hear her deceased footsteps and muffled dialogue in the backstage hallways and dressing rooms in the late evenings after the show had ended and the audience dribbled out of the theater and into the indigo-washed nightscape. On rare occasions, she could be glimpsed from the corner of an eye sitting in the audience or in the wings during blocking rehearsals or a final tech run-through. One night, she appeared to 2 of us as we exited the darkened theater. She stood within arm's distance, looking towards the front row seats just before center stage. She appeared to be in her mid-30s, her chestnut hair spilling over her drooping shoulders, pale skin and dark clothes. She was as real as we were, except she emanated a blue-green mist and was half transparent. Her beauty was classic, but her sadness made her appear eternal and ageless. "We mean you no harm," I said. "We just want to go home." She let us pass by the stage, the darkened hallways, the chilled dressing room, out the back door and into the alley. And when the door slammed shut, rather than fright, I felt sorrow for the ghost, remaining here on earth in the theater of her youth, an eternity of watching us rehearsing and performing, while conjoining with the backstage shadows and dim spotlights etched the eulogy of her untimely death. Unable to find her way to the gates where her company of actors are waiting for their missing ingenue. I have always hoped Someday this broken spirit, like us on that night, someday finds the path through the shadows, leading her back home.
The night the rats in the walls told me it was time to stop doing cocaine came just before the morning, the devil taunting me in a dream in which she tried to seduce and intimidate, but I fired back with the 23rd Psalm at 4:15 a.m. Just before breakfast, the marsh was quiet, and the Bible became my friend on the day that started too early but began almost too late for me to survive my companion's failed suicide. Her arms and her neck I would cuddle no more, but speak at a distance to her ghost that dwelled within skin torn by ropes, unseen by all except me. I said, there but by the grace go I, and there she goes away from me. With the coming of the dawn, the lie recedes, the dream blends into day, and the night, thank God, is over. Some prick moved my cheese, and I've forgotten 4 of the 7 habits. My deodorant stopped working, and my eyebrows have crabs. It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go to piss on these fires and avoid standing under mistletoe, because I'll get a kiss to go along with my screw. I know how this game operates. I know just what they'll do. Well, what would this do to your 401k? I'll suck my own dick just to prove I'm not gay. I'll hijack an airplane and fly it straight up their ass. Nothing less than death will be required to pass the initiation into my secret society. I was there when it happened. I saw it all on TV. Those swarthy bastards put anthrax in my internet porn, so I jumped up and down, proclaimed and sworn to rid my suburb of these disease-ridden moles. So I practiced Taekwondo until I soiled my clothes. And if that's not enough for you ungrateful sots, I'll sit on my ass while you all just plot. As the heathen drive beamers, Satan rides in his Lexus. We will stand at attention as Bin Laden inspects us and lines us all up in a neat little queue, marching us off to the gas chambers. Then what will you do? What will you do, you smarty pants jackass? Don't cry to me. Just hold on to your rod, because you didn't realize in time that I look just like God. High on a horse of bullshit and tears rides the beaten down artist wrapped in a fabric of fears. Of all of his needs, the greatest of these is a kick in the collective ass. While mincing and prancing and aloof in his silence, he shits in the doorway hoping to instigate violence. He purges his soul and opens his heart, whereon the privileged may pass. Though the theater is empty, the show still goes on and the critics can all go to hell. The audience is sleeping, except for the hero standing stage center, proclaims with a yell and flapping his arms as if trying to take flight above what he believes is injustice and towards the center of the light. The horseman then entered stage right with an axe and the vaguest of smiles, an idea of the destruction before the creation. The artist threw in the cards and bled on the tiles. The boards of the stage quivered with rage as our hero reached out to the lady. But his arms were too short and his tongue was too long to stop the aft one before she finished her song. Then the doors came down and the cops all rushed in like 1,000 bison in heat. With a standing ovation and a punch in the mouth, no one could find a dry seat. The nocturnal emission, the exposure indecent brought, gales of laughter and screams of disgust. The lights all came up in the house. Who are these grave robbers? These crass motherfuckers? Then the ingenue tore off her blouse. Leave us alone, you bourgeois pig slobs, or I'll cut off your heads with my tits. We're artists, goddammit. You'll pay for our drivel and like it. Now sit your asses down and let's get on with the show. These are our lives that we're spewing, so have some respect for the scenery chewing. And after the fanfare, you can all go back to your lives, but this is a temple, and you're all just sheep. You wouldn't know art from your elbow. Blaspheme and declaim if you must, but there's a knife in my side, and it's starting to rust. When we left off, the artist was dying before we were so rudely interrupted. The theater was quiet, all eyes focused on him, screaming and shitting and hoping you'd listen to his story of the fire from within.
Record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
The depth of this hill is as steep as its climb. In the silence of sex lies the stillness of time. While lusting for death, seductions of crime danced on the brain and chewed at the liver, clouded the eyes and made the corpse quiver. Ink spots that fell on the carpet remain. Her precious boy's blood would rush down the drain. Policemen are fools who ransack and rape, he said in confession that was recorded on tape. The news would proclaim this boy had gone mad. A quick lustful fix killed the chances he had. White trash from Florida is invading our city. It's an abortion our taxes must pay for this pity. I'll lock up my daughter, I'll chain up my wife, I'll shoot the son of a bitch who tries to fuck up my life. In my board of canned goods, toilet paper, and ammo, we'll be safe as the God that sits up on high, while the rest of you cannibals eat shit and die. Streets are not safe for folk like me, and if you don't watch your step, I'll go hide in a tree and hose your ass down with an Uzi if you step in my yard, because I watch the news, and it scares me to know there are people out there like that and like you who threaten my world, my church, and my life, and if you think I'm paranoid, thank my fourth wife. She's under the floorboards in plastic and mud. If you pigs want more evidence, go wade through the crud. The last time I killed her was the last time I saw her. And that's all I'm saying until I speak to my lawyer.
With your hands up.
Can you check for a pulse?
I am not a yelling and screaming kind of person. Nor will I raise my fist to another unless absolutely no other alternative is present. Granted, sometimes my mouth can veer towards that of a drunken sailor, but I have learned to cuss from the best profanity artisans in existence, and I know when to put a muzzle on my big-ass mouth. Therefore, I do not believe that I was out of line for exclaiming, "God damn it, don't ever do that again," when she said,
"Think fast,"
and flicked a lit cigarette into my face and it got caught in my hair. A stunned expression spread across her face that began to quiver with tears. The dialogue that ensued on that late Miami Beach back alley street went a little something like this.
"You yelled at me."
"You threw a lit cigarette in my face. What do you want me to do? Say thank you?"
"Don't ever yell at me again."
"Don't throw a lit fucking cigarette at me again."
"Don't you fucking curse at me."
"Don't give me a reason to."
"Why do you have to yell and curse at me?"
"Why do you have to throw a lit cigarette in my face?"
"I don't know. I don't know why I do the things I do. That's just how I am. And sometimes I like to do mean things because it's fun and it makes me laugh, and that's who I am. And if you can't accept me for who I am, then you don't love me. I love you, And I thought that I could trust you not to yell at me like my last boyfriend did. I swear to God, men fucking suck. I don't think you are a very nice person, and I'm not sure that I like you very much right now.
I can't say I'm a big fan of you either. I'm frankly sick and tired of your shitty attitude and nasty comments, and you're about to see my ass be so goddamn out of here, it's gonna make your head fucking spin.
You're so fucking immature. You need to grow up and get a life.
And you need to go find another boyfriend who is stupid enough to put up with your shit. Fuck you and goodbye.
Fuck you, asshole.
Fuck you, bitch.
If you walk away from me now, it's over. I swear to God, I mean it this time.
Good.
Fuck you.
Fuck you too.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. And I walked away and lit a cigarette, and several moments of silence followed the ensuing footsteps, and then from the distance I heard,
asshole.
and I thought to myself, have a nice life, devoid of me. Last Friday night was a total disgrace with my freshly tanned ass and the egg on my face. Those rubber hoses on my thighs left a horrible sight. Those rubber hip boots were sadomasochistically tight. All the running and screaming were to no avail when the silver-studded porcupine crawled up my wanton tail. Without a stiff drink or so much as a whisper, all his passion was hung from her creamy dripping lipstick at the click of a half-cocked gun. Police and guards decided not to dance at the apostolic wonder, instead to boil at the lance. My prissy-hearted missy took it up the big wazoo when the primal-hearted preacher refused to acknowledge how much he liked it too. Suffering cats in champagne vats are soused up to their whiskers, so my pretty pussy took a holiday to reconvene with all her sisters. They're scheming and they're plotting, those harpy bitch-like shrews, sequestered and sharpening their stilettos, and think we haven't got a clue, but I know their evil plan. I got wind of their wicked scheme. It was scrawled upon the men's room wall in the toilet of my dream. It said we must die slowly, but it doesn't say how long. The raven will be descending, the Fuhrer of King Kong. It's got the face of Elizabeth Taylor, but with Bela Lugosi's bite, and it comes to us fresh from hell starting next Friday night. It will claim to be a lover, but all it does is fight this screaming senorita. With much panache and class, I spy from the corner of my eye, and I slap a padlock on my ass, because I know the heat she's packing, and she's not seeing mine until kisses drop like diamonds into the lipstick of my wine.
Dear Legal Department, thank you for correcting me with your unabashed wisdom, ever-present vigilance, and attention to detail for outlining the priorities and methodology if in the event I ever again find one of my co-workers lying unconscious, wedged between two filing cabinets, legs askew, half slouched, half supine on the floor, and bleeding from the head. If, God forbid, there is a future occurrence of such dimension and proportion, I know now the protocol is not first call the ambulance or attempt to revive, but instead to first call upon a member of the management team to ascertain with a certainty greater than mine when and if I find one of my co-workers unconscious and bleeding is a good thing or a bad thing. For it seems that I am a bear of very little brain and big words confuzzle me. Therefore, it is to be surmised by the brain trust in the upper echelon of management and legalities that it is extremely unwise to assist an unconscious coworker, especially one who is bleeding profusely from the fucking head. Certainly, I, a mere minion amongst the cogs of this grand enterprise, will heretofore consider myself counseled, enlightened, and forewarned not to tread lightly, if at all, within the parameters pertaining to the vicious whirlpooling sewer inhabited and frequented by doctors, lawyers, and insurance companies and upper management whose elitist realm we hourly wage hobos can only wish to penetrate with our greasy fingers and unwashed mentalities, ipso facto rendering us woefully unable to calculate the complexities of the systematic response that should be enacted when we find one of our fellow workaday apes unconscious on the floor, sporting a pale complexion, shallow of breath, wedged between two filing cabinets, half slouched, half supine, and a gash from upon their forehead requiring 7 eventual stitches acquired during sudden tumultuous descent from consciousness to oblivion. And did I mention the blood being emitted profusely from the fucking head? Thank you, dear legal department, for your clarification. If by chance in the regrettable future I find another fellow employee in peril, I will 1. Go find a member of the management team. 2. Inform them that a fellow hourly wage ape is in a state of aforementioned peril, i.e. unconscious on the floor, legs askew, wedged between two filing cabinets, bleeding like holy shit, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, from the fucking head, come quick, come quick, come quick. And then 3, hand the member of the management team my cell phone because I am sure I will have forgotten how to dial 911, and then let those of higher position of the managerial strata decide when unconsciousness and blood loss is a reportable circumstance or when it is a distraction from industrial productivity. 5. This sequence of protocol is now clearly embroidered upon my neural canals and thought wave frequencies. However, being that I am a bear of very little brain and big words and ominous circumstances confuzzle me, please be aware that if in the unseen future should I ever again encounter a fellow, a co-worker or otherwise, within the walls of this fine corporation or without, who is apparently stricken with an inappropriate lack of consciousness and even a small but suspicious smattering of head bleeding, I don't know, just possibly like maybe get a little, sort of brain farty and forget about the approved corporate procedures concerning calling 911 for an unconscious individual bleeding from the fucking head during work hours. If I heinously fuck up ever again by calling the ambulance first and management second, please forgive my transgression because I am, as aforementioned, a bear of very little brain. But, dear legal department, why do I think that once the day is over and the corporate charade has been sloughed off, the masks of legality obscuring humanity discarded, the vicious whirlpools risen above, if that it were ever, God forbid, you, dear legal department, that I were to find legs askew, wedged between two filing cabinets, half slouched, half supine, weeping crimson from a 7-stitch-worthy gash upon your brow, find me, eyes obscured by pallorous lids acquired from plunge into the unexpected loss of consciousness that you, in the following days, would be grateful for my choice of temporary amnesia and humanitarian propriety overshadowing corporate protocol. I will similarly hold no grudge or think anything less of you or behold you as any less of the astute, dear legal department that you are. If you were to get a little, I don't know, kind of sort of brain farty and confuzzled, should you ever find me in need of your compassion rather than your protocols? Because we are, after all, anyone, and as always, all my bears are very little brains equally and alternatively capable of saving each other's lives and or bleeding profusely from the fucking head.
Angels in the hereafter signaling my departure, heralding my failing from failed architecture. Descending, drowning in pools of cloud forms awash in the oceans of the sky, chastise, flying, denied ascension, drawing attention to gaping voids devoid of why. Prisoner of the hierarchy, damned by my heredity, my beauty is a shaming, devising divisions and demagoguery. Thousands of ships are sailing at the beckoning of my rapture, the 4 horsemen calling for warfare on hypocrites to capture. I laid with Eve while Adam slept upon a heather by a tree where I was crucified, and like you, I wept when Jesus died. Jealousy of my brother struck me down from beside my father's hand, and now I roil in decimation, hoping one day to regain my rightful purpose, to hear his choir song, to sit again in the throne I took too long for granted, the one where I belong. When these catastrophes and apocalypses come to pass, in the day of my demise, I will have served his purpose, my cloak of darkness providing stark contrast, so that his light will not blind your eyes. I am that bastard you revile in terror, a 7-headed hydra you seek to dismember. But I am your secret friend, the one with whom you conspire to further your agenda. I am the pox that fucks your pestilence. I am the one you call to destroy your darkest demons, because I am the blackest of them all. I know their words and their ways and can dismantle their acrimony faster than the longest living saint, for I am the soil. I am the one you shit upon and bury with my corpse. I am where your bones will sleep and finally turn to dust. I am Satan, motherfucker, the one you never trust. I am your reflection, the one who is reversed, the one you push away from, the one that you deny, victory in revelations and your aspirations towards the sky from which I fell, for which I cry, and am so homesick I wish myself to die, but I can neither slash my wrists, nor asphyxiate, nor overdose, but only procreate the demons you bring upon yourselves. I am merely cataloger and cartographer of your personal hells. I am an angel fallen from grace like you. I revel in vain attempts to retrieve and forget. I am useless, throw me down like you, proud bastard I was. I deserve what I beget.
We shared some extremely harsh comments before I killed us. But somehow I knew I would see you again in a facet or fashion on some unknown day, reconvening to repair the damage done to our bodies from romantic affairs with poisons chased by whiskey. Blurred headlights swimming against a stream of good sense and clean life, basking in shadows of pockmarked oblivion, grasping for saints in a whorehouse divine, angels in repulsive guises, speaking a Latin profane. A discourse with Satan, a lie above all, we wrenched into our souls and descended into an abode which I still cannot believe I climbed out of. My wife and children could not ever know the pain of those days prior to our murder and the ensuing rapture of diminishing darkness that followed. The pillar of cloud upon which I was hanged fell light on the heavenous firmament. The noose tightened and threatened to break, but still I held fast to the guns and swords that led to this bloodshed, the shrinking demise of a self-rendered hell that I loved so dearly. Beautiful lies and eloquent evils passed like smoke in the wind as I found my way out towards the gate to see St. Peter welcoming me back to earth. Light plays curiously upon the architecture in heaven, bending beams into symphonies like strands of molten glass, weaving tapestries, caressing monoliths. Prisms exploding, refraction shards within quartz cathedrals, illumining reverent faces of angels and ancients, and the unspoken others gathered together in fellowship. Liquid crystal mosaics entwined with sunlight, reversing darkness from within. Here, prostitutes become sacred,
have forsaken now another finger in the mudra of Buddha. Dawn rises swiftly from below cloud vapors, dissolving orgasms of moonplay upon ocean tides, impregnating the dome of the sky, bringing new life to the eternal. The sods of destruction crumble and yield to light and its sister shadow. Slowly realizing gazes eventually eclipse heaven over matter, ceasing deceased beliefs, dark void moons, abyss, vortex conundrums from vacant altars of all. These are the words, born in silence, visioned from light, traipsing across mirror chapels, lining the crossroads between here and ever. Shapeshifter, written and performed by Max Grimm, produced by Creative Actors Lab. Sound engineering and additional compositions by Danielle Grimm, with additional voice talent and sound engineering by Kelly Cody Grimm. Special thanks to the Gwinnett County Public Library System. Music and sound effects provided by artlist.io. This has been a production of Creative Actors Lab. Thank you so much for listening.